All right, we're live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're sitting here on the couch, and we're going to show you guys our two guitars, how they're actually very close to each other, made 1 month apart or so, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're probably cut from, same pieces of wood maybe. But yeah, we'll just show you guys the similarities and the differences, and maybe play them a little bit.
Right away, I noticed that, when somebody mentions like a 59 neck, the shape of the neck itself is just, that D taper profile. And every 59 you pick up, it seems like you can never find an oddball 59 neck. There's been oddball 62s, 61s, but that 59-60 feel to a neck seems to be a mainstay. And this weekend we were at the Dallas Guitar Festival, and there was at least 6 or 7 59 Strats that we both, checked out, and they all have that same shape.
Yeah.
Matt's shape is very similar to mine.
Almost exact, yeah.
Really comfortable to play for me because I have bigger hands and I have, I've had hand issues, so my hand kind of, I can do like a whole minor chord with, just one, my thumb or one finger, so it makes it really accessible, and yours has it as well,
Yeah. How did you call the shape of it? What did you say?
It's a D, slim D taper.
That's exactly how, I would describe it too. A lot of like Fender Strat necks are described as like a C shape, but to me, this is a very, distinguishable like D shape.
Yeah, because like the areas over here on the shoulders, it comes up very tight and round very quick. Like like if you looked at a D, so don't look at this D.
Right. Also, I guess we can start out by saying, what makes the 59 Rosewood board so rare per se,
Yeah, Leo's venture into trying something new. You have this slab of, Brazilian rosewood, and slab meaning that the maple part of the neck here would be cut flat, and then this slab of rosewood would be glued on top in a flat surface. Late 62, they became a veneer to basically where the piece of Brazilian rosewood would be thinner and curved. Basically, Leo could save some money. And, some people say it's got a brighter sound. Some people say the slabs have a big, meaty sound. And I've just always preferred a slab. I wanted to try, owning a 63, but I know what a slab does, and I know what this neck shape does, so.
Yeah. So, in 1959, Fender was actually doing the Jazz Masters with rosewood in 58, but in 59, they went to the rosewood from the maple neck, mid-year, like what did we say, July or so?
I think it was June.
June, okay.
Yeah, June. Well, I had a June 59 slab board Telecaster.
Okay.
That red one.
Yeah.
And that was a June body, so.
There's only a 6-month window to be able to get one of these, so I don't know how many were made. Do you have any idea?
I really have no idea, because I've seen some with 59s with serial numbers in the early three, start with the early 3s, and then I've seen 59 body dates in the 5s.
Really?
So also keep in mind the 59 serial numbers were basically the neck plates were just put in a bin.
Right.
Nothing was numerical order. You know what I mean? So it was just by chance. So if you ever find a guitar that's close to your serial number, it's kind of like a really cool thing because nothing was by design. Yeah. They didn't keep records of what guitars were what, like Gibson did. Also with 59s, it's very easy to fake the necks. There are many things you can look for, but 59s came with no neck date. You know what I mean? But there are tooling marks. There's some pieces of the wood that they use. It would have these striations and these lines in the back of them that really were intricate to 59. And certain pinholes and router holes and truss rod nuts. There's certain things you can't fake. And what Brazilian rosewood does after 60 years is really hard to, replicate. So
yeah, it has this certain look to it.
So what's the story with this one? How did the whole thing come about with the 59 stuff?
Yeah, this guitar I ended up buying by accident, more or less. It wasn't something that I was looking for. I got a lead on this guitar that it was in Vegas. older gentleman had owned it. It belonged to a friend of his, that his guitar player in his band. I have the original brown Tolex case, and it's got these stickers on it from like these European airlines and hotels from like the 60s and 70s. So I know the guitar has been around the world in some capacity before I ever owned it. But this guitar was spray painted silver whenever I got it, and that's how I ended up getting it for a good price. And as with most of my guitars, because I look for guitars that have some kind of issue. And I was able to take off every inch of paint and uncover the original Sunburst finish. This guitar had a couple other issues, but I was able to basically, bring it back to 100% stock. So, like I said, it wasn't that I was looking for a 59. I didn't really, I just saw this guitar. I knew the finish was underneath, and so I went for it.
That looks great.
Yeah. So what about yours?
Well, this was my first vintage Stratocaster. I had a 65 SG Junior before this, so I can't say it was my first vintage guitar, but this is my first vintage Stratocaster. I got to the point where I felt like, I was working and I was starting to play more, and a couple of friends said to me, you need an old one because they're really three-dimensional. And I started looking, and I remember I almost pulled the trigger on a 62 that was routed and stuff like that, like routed bad. Like, it was like I didn't even think about it. I was going to put a parts guitar together, and I was going to try to buy every piece.
Yeah,
and
I thought about doing that
put it
too.
Together, and I figured I was going to be able to get a better deal. But then you start adding everything up, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And then this guitar was on Reverb for the longest time. Great guy, Bizarre Guitars. I spoke with him, and, it was spray painted black, like even around the edges of the pick guard here were all black. Like somebody just spray painted over everything. The bridge, they just spray painted it. And it was really wild because they spray painted over the body date and everything. Nice. And those were some of my concerns because, it was quite affordable. And through pictures, I knew all the pot date. I knew how to read the pot dates because I had done my research, and I knew about the 59 necks. And, the guy was kind enough to say, tell you what, I'll ship the guitar to you overnight. Keep the guitar for 48 hours. If you find something you don't like or something there that you're not happy with, send it back. I'll give you a full refund. So I figured at that point I'd take a chance. And as soon as I got it, it came in the leather Bullwind gig bag from the 50s and 60s, black leather, original Fender, which was wild.
Yeah.
And I pulled it out, and I instantly noticed, wow, vintage guitars are extremely smaller in size than like custom shop guitars. The headstocks, if you ever get to compare them, they're extremely small as opposed to like what a custom shop would be. You know what I mean? So I pulled the guitar out, I pulled the pickguard off, and I was able to look at the pickups, and I knew how to look at windings in the pickups. So I basically was at work when I got the guitar. I disassembled the whole thing. And when I pulled the pickguard off, I saw, oh wow, it's all the Sunburst is under there. So I said, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I took the guitar home. The nut slot was really worn thin, so I put a not thinking, like I just stuck a nut on there to play it. And the guitar had that thing that everybody talked about. It was open, almost a hollow, haunting sound. Pickups were slightly microphonic, which was really great. So, I paid the guy and I kept the guitar. And then my search was on to find a way to bring that finish back to life. And a couple people, Chad and a couple of the other restoration guys, told me to just take some, mineral spirits and try to wipe some stuff off. And as I was wiping it off, kind of like Matt's, in some ways, a lot of this was still there. So I sent it off for a refin. They were able to expose, about 85% of the original finish. But a spot right here, which doesn't make any sense to me, and why they did this, I have no idea, but they touched up a spot here because they said that when they were removing their black, that they took some of my finish off with it. But you can see, the dowel holes here.
Right.
And a dowel hole down here. You get your body date there, you get your original trem block. And, the guitar's just it's been my mainstay guitar. It's done everything I've wanted. I mean, granted, my playing needs to get better. We're always trying to get better, but the guitar is always, you're playing a gig and you do a big dive and you're like, oh, here we go. It's going to be out of tune. And it's always like, one quick whack in the bar again it's back in tune, and I've always, you know, I just know what the guitar is always going to do, and I've refretted it about 4 times now.
And you like, you know, kind of jumbo style frets, and
yeah, I use 6100 and I use stainless. I didn't fall into the whole stainless is bad or bright. You know, that's what I like, and I don't think stainless is bright. I think you just get a clarity around the note.
You like higher action and
yeah, really high action. I like to get it as high as I can. The height adjustment screws are actually replaced with like a little bit longer ones because I just really want to get the action up. It's just been easier for me because I have fat fingers and I have bigger hands, so it's just been easier to get underneath the note, you know. And it's just got a slim, comfortable neck. The guitar, old guitars, when they've dried out all that time, they're extremely resonant. And yeah,
that one is for sure.
I just love this guitar. You know, they're loud, extra loud.
Yeah. And my serial number is 45200 or so. What's yours?
45600.
Okay, so yeah, within 400
it's pretty
digits,
cool.
which again, it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it's very weird.
A friend of mine, Eric Tesmer, his serial number is extremely close too, and we were able to. Oh, actually, I want to say there was a 59 Fender bass at the show that had a serial number in between the both of ours, which was really wild. And it had this. I don't know, is that Jay Rosen's booth? But it had that same chocolate burst where there was no red in it, you know?
Yeah, this is a very kind of, you know, signature burst from 59 into early 62.
Yeah.
You can find them. But it's, you know, the red dye that they used was very sensitive to UV, right?
Yeah.
So it would just kind of, you know,
like
melt away.
under the guard here, if I were to lift the guard off here, there's red, like following the line of the guard. Mm-hmm. You know, you can see it on my Instagram and stuff like that. But it's just been a great guitar, and you know, I love this guitar. If my house was on fire, I would grab this and my cats.
Do you have any tips for, you know, the people on here to, like, you know, set your guitar up to play better, or any good tip for them?
I use the raw vintage springs. I had the original 59 ones on here, and I only had 3. And I'd send the claw up pretty far into the body because I like the bridge, you know, up against the body to kind of get some sustain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I switched over to these raw vintage because everybody said they noticed great results with them, and I honestly did myself. So I put 4 of those on, was able to back the claw down a little bit, and I spent a lot of time adjusting pickups. My pickups, if somebody were to look at them, they'd say they're really not uniform. They don't all look the same, but I spent a lot of time kind of getting the same, you know, blend them in. So if you were to go like you have your neck, you go to your middle, you go to your bridge, you know, they're kind of well balanced and uniform in a way. You know what I mean? They all kind of give you the same output. Funny story with this, my bridge pickup is, I think it might have a break in it somewhere or something, but it measures out at about 4.1K. It can cut, you know, just and then I replace the tuners. I always do that because they wear out quick. I always will redo a bone nut, but I'll set the action at the nut higher to let the string kind of just ring through without rattling. You know what I mean? So that's it. I still have a 3-way switch. I still have all the working pots, and the whammy, the tremolo arms original. The saddles are all original. There's no shim in the neck. And yeah, it's got a big fret wire and high action, and that's just it. It's been a great guitar.
Relief on yours? You kind of like a little.
I like a little extra relief just to get the action up there, but not too much to where the guitar's not playing comfortably.
Right.
Because I really feel that a properly set up guitar gives better tone and will help you play better. Mm-hmm. So.
And with the pickups, you know, one thing you told me was like, you want to set your pickups by ear. Like every one is different. Yeah. So
you know that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that whole thing of people looking at pictures of pickups the way they're set, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like somebody looks at somebody's amp settings, and they'll set their amp up that way, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I've done that, you know, because you want to try stuff, but definitely use your ear, you know, and process of elimination. You bring the neck up to where you really like what it's doing, and then the middle pickup, if it sounds a little weaker, you start bringing it up. Mm-hmm. If you have a pickup that's too loud, put that pickup down. Get them so they all balance out. And again, you can it's easy as just going. three distinct sounds, and I use
Yeah.
a three-way, but I still have my in-between positions. You know, and they all work together. So I mean, that's my guitar.
There you go. Hopefully.
What do you do on yours?
Oh gosh, I wish I knew what I was doing on mine, but yeah, I've just tried to
Look at pictures.
Yeah, I just tried to tweak it to what felt right for me. I mean, you know, the action. You know, some would say, I mean, it's high, but it's not as high as his guitar either. But I've learned a lot over the last couple of days on, you know, what sounds good. But you know, higher action, bigger frets, and just experimenting.
Yeah, I got this. Came free. I got this extra hole in my pick guard too,
Yeah.
which is really nice. I didn't have to pay for
Right, that means it's fake, actually.
Well, I do this.
I do this. Go ahead and play a little bit. I think that pretty much sums it all up. Hopefully some folks got some good information, some good tips. You know, maybe something in there helps you guys. You can find all of Nik's socials and stuff down below. Be sure to go follow him. And anything else? That's it, guys.
Peace.
Peace.